Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a great day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. A bit of a mixed bag of news. Not a bad thing. It's just more of a... It feels like one of those like lightly confusing kind of days. In one of the most popular news stories out there, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund has reportedly surpassed the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the GBTC, as the world's largest exchange-traded fund tracking the price of Bitcoin. Grayscale, years ago, had a Bitcoin trust. It was converted into a Bitcoin fund. And the issue is, since, the middle of January, 89% of the time, Grayscale has been selling off their Bitcoin. It's not by choice. It's by people who are in the fund, who have been swapping their coins out or moving them other places. But in exchange, Grayscale is essentially obligated to do what their clients wish. And because of this, the amount of Bitcoin that they've been selling that re-entered the market caused prices to go down. So people have basically been waiting, counting down, if you will, for the moment when they would no longer be the largest holder of Bitcoin. A little sad for the company, especially since, for those of you who have lost track, Grayscale still has extremely high fees, I believe 1.5% for their Bitcoin ETFs compared to less than 1% for nearly everything else in the space. They also launched their Grayscale mini trust. Has not been in the news since, but there is news every now and again that money is flowing back into the Grayscale Trust. I wish I could tell you exactly why, because they have a very high fee, so you would kind of just go and work anywhere else. As of the end of trading on the 28th of May, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, known as iBit, recorded $102 million worth of inflows, while Grayscale's registered a $105 million outflow. Here's a tweet forward right here. They're calling it the Bitcoin ETF flippening. That's so dramatic. How do I say this? I would love if people mentally got back to the space where they didn't pretend that all this stuff is just happening because of the ETFs. If we didn't have ETFs, our market would be just fine. But it's like people are rooting for wealthy people to take over the market, which I don't know if you've not watched this before, which I'm kind of against, because if you understand crypto and Bitcoin and decentralization, Bitcoin is for everyone on the planet. So yeah, not a conversation we're going to get into, but a lot of people were very, very excited about BlackRock, the company that already owns everything, owns the world, essentially air quotes here, owning Bitcoin, what have you. The inflow is reported to have brought BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF to a total of 288,607 Bitcoin, compared to Grayscale, which now holds 287,450,000. Despite beginning at 620,000 Bitcoin at the time of its conversion in January, this is according to data from, HODL 15 Capital and Apollo Bitcoin Tracker. All right, so I don't even know what I was going to say anymore, because the HODL 15 Capital completely knocked me off. Yeah, so I will say I feel like something happened that we just don't know about, but definitely something happened. Grayscale continued to leave their fees very high, while billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin were taken off of their property, as it were. So I feel like something definitely happened there, because no company, especially having the first mover advantage, would have ever done that. You would have definitely made sure that you lowered your fees to 0.1% immediately. But alas, yes. So apparently, BlackRock, we could have all expected this because they're BlackRock. BlackRock, who also was in the news recently, I don't have it on here. They're talking about adding Bitcoin to a number of their other funds as well. So we should be getting news about that in the next couple of weeks, I assume. As in, the other funds that BlackRock has under their control are going to be allocating a huge amount of money into the Bitcoin ETFs as well. So we'll also be hearing about when BlackRock owns more of its own funds and more of the Bitcoin out there. But yeah, very popular news. I think I understand why, but it's also still one of those situations where I would have loved if the news was like, hey, we had 3 million new wallet addresses yesterday and they all got some BTC, but I guess maybe that's just hyper wishful thinking. That's the BlackRock is now number one and has outpaced Grayscale and accumulating Bitcoin in just 96 days. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in yay news, the Argentine National Securities Commission recently met with the National Digital Assets Commission of El Salvador to explore potential collaboration on Bitcoin regulation. The meeting highlighted Argentina's growth interest in the cryptocurrency space amid ongoing economic challenges. With the increasing adoption of cryptocurrencies, especially stablecoins, Argentina is eager to learn from El Salvador's experiences and regulatory frameworks. This is a weirdly odd thing. This was also quite popular. For those of you who've missed out, El Salvador has Bitcoin as legal tender. It's clearly some kind of a money game. They understand where the market's going to go. Cool, fantastic. Argentina and a bunch of other countries out there are doing like terribly bad. But I mean, this is also due to like 40, 50, 60, 70, almost 80 years of like terrible economic decisions because of corruption, because of stuff from the country that has the world reserve currency. They also meddled for a number of decades. However, quite recently, because of inflation and what's happening in a lot of different countries, a lot of other places have started to come forward and like discuss like Bitcoin adoption. And a lot of it really just has to do with the fact that like their economies aren't really doing that bad. I don't know what's exactly going to come of this, but people were quite excited anytime that we hear that there's a brand new country who's thinking of getting into Bitcoin. It's worked out okay for a number of other countries who've done it, but it's also like it could be a lot better if corruption wasn't one of the main things that was taking place around the world right now. There's a lot to say on this. I'm trying not to like dwell on it because I could literally ramble, for a good 45 minutes just about this one entire topic, but cool. As of now, nothing has taken place. We've gotten no news. No one knows what's going to happen. The idea of them sitting down over a cup of tea to talk about regulatory framework is also nonsense. They know exactly what they're trying to do. It's just usually they're trying to discuss like what the best ways of them making money are. You have to understand that even these countries don't really care about regulations. A lot of it also has to do with the fact that they know that if they adopt crypto and they mess up in some sort of way, the capital won't even flow out of their borders. It's on the blockchain. So they have to try and find like clever ways to be able to keep people in their country with that money. And I think that's going to be a very difficult thing for governments in the future, where the money literally only exists on chain. So the confiscation levels and all these. Anyway, so that's wow. Argentina's looking to El Salvador for cryptocurrency News. Oh, regulatory frameworks. That's the word that they're choosing to use. I'm certain at this point that Argentina is one of the countries who's like already mining Bitcoin and or using it behind the scenes. They're not going to tell us. And this is why we keep getting such weird like messages or like news stories from the IMF. And what's the other one? The bank of something, who keep always talking about that they're hearing from other countries who are looking to adopt Bitcoin. And they keep basically saying like, you'll be under sanctions. And it's like, yeah, they know that. This is why they're trying to adopt Bitcoin. It leads us into a very different future than we currently have. But let's see who's actually, I don't want to say brave enough, but let's see what happens, because it's abundantly clear that it's not just El Salvador. And we also know the other countries who are trading and importing with Bitcoin as well. So welcome to the future. That's the Argentina news. Moving along. Also in news that people cared about, MetaPlanet, who we spoke about before, a publicly traded corporation listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, announced on Tuesday that its board of directors passed a resolution to purchase an additional an additional amount of Bitcoin worth $1.6 million. The 250 was the 250 million yen. So they bought $1.6 million worth of Bitcoin. For Bitcoin held for long-term purposes, the company explained that it will record them at cost. Okay. Meanwhile, short-term holdings will be revalued quarterly at market value, with any unrealized gains or losses recorded in the non-operating income section of the income statement. MetaPlanet announced their strategic treasury transformation and Bitcoin adoption on the 13th of May after adding Bitcoin worth 1 billion yen to their treasury. So we always hear about companies who are buying up Bitcoin, who are adding it to their treasury. This has been happening for years. I mean, even years ago, people used to be more enthusiastic about a lot of the news that we got. Some of them started out as like mom and pop shops, like literal mom and pop shops, being like, hey, we just bought 16 Bitcoin, and we'd actually move up in price that day. But there are tons of companies who are buying Bitcoin all the time. It's not that this isn't fantastic or that is nothing new. It's just more of this news barely makes a splash at all because everyone's so used to hearing $800 million worth of Bitcoin was purchased. So when it's simply $1.6 million, people don't get too riled up for it. But it's just more of the accumulation is happening. It's continuing. It has been going on for a very long time. Understand that every Bitcoin that's purchased takes away Bitcoin from, several thousand people who would ever actually have fragments of Bitcoin. So quickly we ride into this world where there's not going to be enough Bitcoin or even Satoshis left for normal people, but you already know that conversation. So cool. MetaPlanet has purchased more Bitcoin. There are tons of other companies who are always buying, who just don't announce it to the public. And then usually people don't react until we get that public news. So just know that the buying is happening. That's the MetaPlanet news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Whoa, yay, I'm so happy this happened news. Iota. Yeah, Iota's back in the news. Iota has rolled out a layer 2 solution compatible with EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, in an effort to bring smart contract capabilities to the network. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Iota is a coin that popped up on the scene. Was it 2016 or 2017? I want to say 2017. Doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. And basically, their promise was similar to that of Cardano, to Tron, to Solana, every other coin you can think of. They were going to become the number 2 coin. And part of the issue is that a lot of developers came forward. You can watch the old videos. A lot of developers came forward and were like, oh, this doesn't actually work. And they were like, shut your face. Of course it works. And they kept on talking about how Iota was the best thing in the entire world. And then I stopped talking about Iota because I was like, hey, maybe we should trust the people who are actually coding all of these things that it doesn't work, because Iota doesn't have a blockchain, they have a Tangle. And everyone was like, TMI, you don't know what's going on. We're going to have a $50 Iota, and it's going to become the number 2 coin, and it's going to pass XRP. And I remember I was confused. I was like, what does XRP have to do about it? So at some point, XRP becomes the number 2 coin, and then Iota has some really weird beef with XRP. I don't know exactly what took place. So the legacy, the story of Iota doing something kind of completely faded. We heard about it in 2019, where they had partnered with Land Rover Jaguar Land Rover, something with a cat in a car, and they were going to be the currency coin of the future, and they didn't need anybody to help them. So fast forward, all blockchains except for Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin, I don't really know. All blockchains have kind of come to the conclusion that they're never going to actually pass by Ethereum. And the only way to get any kind of attention, this isn't me being mean, it's just like what's actually happening, so I'm sorry if you're an Iota lover. Basically, they're announcing that they are creating something or a new system for them to be able to integrate with Ethereum in some sort of way, so that if people who are using Ethereum decide that they want to transfer or move value or have smart contracts on top of Iota, they can use the Ethereum virtual machine with Iota to be able to do so. The problem lies in the fact that no one really wants to use a lot of these other blockchains. So you know how I always say one of the most important things is not the market cap, and it's not the daily 24-hour volume, because all of that can be faked on cryptocurrency exchanges, and all, people trading a coin back and forth based on hype has nothing to do with real world usage. So there are a lot of coins in the top 50 that no one in the real world is actually using. Their valuations are smoking blockchain, if you will. So Iota has rolled back into the news, talking about that now, after all these years when no one's really paying attention to them anymore, that now they found a way to make themselves compatible with Ethereum, the thing that they were trying to basically fight before. But it's happened with every single chain. Whenever you hear any of these projects talking about integrating or becoming compatible with the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, it's essentially digitally bending the knee, because, that's the only way that they're going to get used. The Iota Foundation has announced the launch of what they're calling Iota EVM, a layer 2 solution for the network designed to enable smart contract functionality to expand the ecosystem's capabilities in the decentralized finance space. Gross. In a blog post, the Iota Foundation revealed that blockchain developers can now deploy Solidity-based smart contracts on the Iota network, a move aimed at bridging the gap between the Iota and Ethereum ecosystems, enhancing Iota's capabilities. Fantastic. They said, the launch of Iota EVM with a fully functional and industry competitive infrastructure marks a major step towards our goals to innovate and drive adoption in both the crypto space and the real world, end quote. Anything else? Interoperability, Solidity solution also enhances fairness and security. Fantastics. Cool. So, it's roughly about that time in the cycle, as you've been seeing, a lot of altcoins have been popping back up in the news quite recently, like across the board, trying to make sure that everyone else knows that over the last 2 years, when they released no news, then now they're back better than ever, trying to integrate with Ethereum, the thing that they said that they were going to beat a number of years ago. This isn't an I told you so moment. It's more of a I wish people had listened to me back in 2017 ago kind of news. So as far as I know, I go over daily cryptocurrency news and have been for the last, almost 4,000 videos. No one's using Iota. No one probably wants to use Iota. It's not even something that's even being discussed anymore. We haven't had any Iota news. There's been no Iota partnerships. There's been no Iota updates. There's been no Iota anything. Shiba Inu has more news than Iota does, but Maybe this will be their comeback moment where people are like, hey, we can use 38 other blockchains, but let's use the one that just repopped back up called Iota that no one has spoken about for a while. We'll see what happens. It's definitely one of those. A lot of altcoins, I said it in I think 1 or 2 videos ago. I think a lot of altcoins like missed the mark on purpose. So here's my opinion. I think a number of years ago, and this isn't directed directly to Iota. It's more of a generalized statement. A number of years ago, when a lot of these blockchains and tangles, as Iota has, were launching, I think a lot of them were really just in it like for the money. They would never say this out loud, but they were clearly just here for the money. And I think a lot of them also didn't have any actual faith in the market. You'd be surprised. It's kind of like someone who talks behind your back all the time, but then when you graduate, they're like, I knew you could do it. It's really one of those things. So I think a lot of these companies popped up looking for like a major cash injection, looking for billions of dollars to kind of, so they could live and, have their best kind of life. What ended up happening was they became popular. They weren't expecting a downward market cycle. They weren't expecting the downtrend, and no one was expecting the downtrend of 2017, 2018. So they kind of like left their projects or kind of left it to the side. There was maybe 4 or 5 people who were still developing on it, but there was just no news from them. So every time that they see that the market is going back up, it's kind of used as a moment where they're like, hey, we can talk about our coin again to get people back into it. But it's like, no, the market is relatively, we're still not there. I thought we would have been here by now. The market is solidifying itself. Bitcoin has solidified itself at number 1. Ethereum has solidified itself at number 2. And it's kind of like this really weird rumble in the streets for all the other coins trying to like really be the number 3, 4, and 5 coin kind of forever. And this is why I think we're hearing about a lot of crypto projects who we haven't heard from in a while throwing news back out there because they know that there's money to be made in that they can get people to back into their coin. They make some money as a company, and then they redisappear once again in 2025. And it's like, sure, why not? You had all this time. You had 7, almost 8 years to make a name for yourself. But alas, so cool. That's the Iota is trying to integrate in some sort of way with Ethereum, but no one uses Iota anymore. News. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in the news is Shiba Inu. Constantly in the news once again. Shiba Inu's burn rate continues to go up, push higher, skyrocketing. According to SHIB Burn, the platform dedicated to tracking the incineration, geez Louise, to track the burn of SHIB tokens, the burn rate saw an astounding surge of nearly 3,900% on Thursday, the 6th of June. You want to hear something really weird? So probably not, but you're going to hear it anyway. So I have a couple of friends who actually found out are actually into Shiba Inu, and I was like, what? Yeah, so one of my friends, he was like, yeah, but like the price has like skyrocketed. And I was like, no, it didn't. He's like, no, like it's been doing extremely well. And I was like, no, it hasn't. He was like, have you looked at the charts? So, silly me. If you missed it a couple of years ago, Shiba Inu was in the news like daily. And now it's like every 3 days. And I mean, the vast majority of the Shiba Inu news, 98% of it has been burned. There's so many Shiba Inu coins that they're trying to burn a lot of it. And I mean like a disgusting amount of Shiba Inu coins, basically to make it easier for the price to go higher. That's literally, as far as I can understand. The Shiba Inu team came forward like in one of last week's videos and basically said that they're in it for the long term. They're trying to develop the system. And see, this is how you do it. You make sure that you don't disappear, and you make sure that you're constantly in the news. It's super simple. Oh, remember Stellar Lumens? Yeah, me neither. So remember how like the entire thing that, as far as I can understand, is that anytime Shiba Inu is used, the coins get burned. If there's enough burn, they think that they can get the supply low enough, and they're trying to do it as much as they can now, even before the mega ultra super bunker busting bull run. So that basically, and I've seen, listen, I saw this number and I was like, you guys are dreaming big. The goal of Shiba Inu, as far as I can tell right now, at least from the community, is to get the coin up to 1 cent. Because apparently you can accumulate so much, once again, it's all for my friend. You can accumulate so much Shiba Inu right now that if it goes to 1 cent, you're basically 100,000 there, if not a millionaire. Fantastic. But the other part is that people believe so much in this project, as I keep saying before, we don't get any Dogecoin news. I find it perplexing. No Dogecoin news, Shiba Inu news all the time. People in the Shiba Inu space think that the coin can go to 5 cents. Now, I know 5 cents doesn't sound phantasmagorical, but understand, if it goes to 1 cent and then it literally goes to 2 cents, you've doubled your money. So I was like, oh, I get why so many people are into it right now. And he was like, look at the chart. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at the chart. I don't know how I missed this. For some reason, at some point, for those of you not looking at the screen, Shiba Inu like absolutely skyrocketed. And it's in this like consolidation period, which we typically see. It's like this kind of thing where it stays within this like one range, if you will. Yeah, Shiba Inu is ranked as the #1 penny crypto under 1 cent. People love this coin. I didn't not get it before, but I think I vastly underestimated exactly how many people like really liked this project. We have not heard from what's the other one? Terra Luna Classic. Yeah, in a very long time, but Shiba Inu really is doing a great job. Listen, you can't see my fingers, but they're crossed. I am hoping I would love nothing. This would be one of the greatest stories in cryptocurrency history if this coin goes to 4 or 5 cents. If you have Shiba Inu out there, and I'm sure somebody does because this coin is mega popular, I'm rooting for you simply because, I don't know, like underdog, like literal, get it because it's a Shiba Inu, underdog kind of story where like they've made sure to keep themselves in the news constantly over and over. And it's just with like burn news. We had one article where the team was like, we're going to do stuff. And everyone was like, yeah, but everything else has just been like how much Shiba Inu is being burned. And I mean, to be fair, your burn rate going up by 3,900%. I would love to have an increase of the burn rate of Ethereum up by 3,900%. That feels right. That feels like it'd be kind of great, actually. So yeah, a bit of it, like I told you, a mixed bag day. A lot of the news out there is quite weird right now. I'm not really sure why. Feels almost like people are, I mean, I know that people are waiting for something, but it feels like I don't know, just a bit of an odd news day. Yeah. So, I do think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I hope that you take the time, as always, to potentially reevaluate the coins that you have in your portfolio. And I ask this simply because getting nonstop news about certain coins over and over, and then finding out that people don't hold these coins is interesting. Interesting is the word there. And other coins from a couple of years ago that I magically proclaimed would probably go nowhere aren't going anywhere. So also, all the new shiny brand new coins that keep popping up. Yeah, not everything has to be purchased just because it's brand new. I know you think that you're maybe buying the next Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or fourth name. However, a lot of these coins that are popping up right now are literal scams, and they're trying to get you to put your money into them so that the creators can make more money. Because there's a lot of like rug pull news that keeps going on. I keep seeing articles I don't know what these things are called. these random new scams that are on top of Solana. Go figure, right? And yeah, so you worked hard for the money. So make sure that you don't just go throw it away, because that would be a shame. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.